How one unexpected email changed my life forever. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. I stared at my inbox like it had teeth. The subject line sat there, clean and wrong. Notice, estate of Daniel Mercer, beneficiary acknowledgement required. It was timestamped 6:12 a.m., which meant it arrived while I was still asleep in my one-bedroom on Hawthorne, the radiator hissing like it had an opinion. The sender name was Caleb R. Haynes, but the address was a weird one. Caleb Haynes at Riverside Legal. Org. Not. Com. Not a big firm domain. The preview line made my stomach drop anyway. Mimi, if you ignore this, you lose the right to contest. Nobody called me Mimi anymore. Not since I was 9 and I fell off the swings behind Maplewood Elementary and split my chin open on the blacktop. I touched the little scar without thinking. The email didn't know that scar existed unless someone close had told him, or unless someone close had been telling him things. I worked at the community college library, the kind of job people joked about like it was a hobby. I checked in textbooks, helped overwhelmed freshmen find peer-reviewed sources, and wiped fingerprints off the glass display cases. My life was quiet by necessity, the kind of quiet that keeps you safe and small. Still, my finger hovered. Delete. Report phishing. Make coffee. Pretend I never saw it. Instead, I clicked. The PDF preview loaded with the county seal and a hearing date, January 18, 2026. Interested party, Maya J. Mercer. Underneath, an address I hadn't lived at since I was 12. Attached behind it was a grainy scan of a will, and on the signature line, my father's name, Daniel Mercer, written in a shaky hand I didn't recognize. Then I saw one more thing. The email's reply to wasn't Caleb at all. It pointed to Elaine Mercer at Clearview Foundation. Net. My aunt's name in my inbox felt like a hand around my throat. I didn't remember ever being listed as anyone's beneficiary. My father had died when I was 10. At least that was the story Elaine repeated whenever I asked questions she didn't like. Yet here was his name, alive in ink, pulling me toward a courthouse I'd only ever seen on jury duty postcards. At 9 a.m., Elaine smiled at me like she'd already won. Elaine loved the word raised. She said it like she deserved a medal for it. After my mom left and my dad passed, Elaine took me in. That was the official story, laminated in the family like a library card you never questioned. Mom was unstable. Dad was gone. Elaine was the only one who stepped up. She told it at weddings. She told it to pastors. She told it to my guidance counselor when I tried to apply for scholarships without her help. In private, her kindness came with receipts. If I wanted to visit friends, she needed their parents' full names and addresses. If I got a B, she worried out loud about my future until I apologized for disappointing her. When I moved out at 19, she insisted on co-signing the lease for safety, then used it to remind me she could pull the rug anytime. Grandma Ruth lived in a ranch house across town, surrounded by ceramic angels and unopened mail. She loved me in the way older women love, through food and worry. But Elaine controlled access. Ruth gets confused, she'd say, smiling, as if confusion was contagious. Don't upset her with old stuff. Thanksgiving at her place was always a performance. Rosemary candles, matching napkins, Elaine's friends from the foundation complimenting her charity work. I sat at the kids' end of the table even though I was almost 30, because that's where Elaine liked me, small. Last month, Elaine helped again by offering to pay for a used car if I signed a simple form for the insurance. She slid it across her immaculate kitchen counter like it was nothing. When I hesitated, she laughed softly and said, "Maya, you still don't trust me after everything?" I signed. I always signed. Then she hugged me too tight and whispered, "We're all you have, Mimi." When I mentioned Dad last Thanksgiving, Elaine's fork froze in midair. By the time I got to the library, my hands were still shaking. I tried to act normal, unlocked the front doors, flipped on the fluorescents, nodded at my coworker, then hid behind the circulation desk and reopened the email on my work computer like I was committing a crime. The subject line looked even colder on a larger screen. From Caleb R. Haynes Caleb. Haynes at Riverside Legal. Org. To Maya. Mercer at gmail.com. Date. Friday, January 2nd, 2026 at 6:12 a.m. Attachments. RE underscore notice underscore of underscore hearing underscore 01-18-2026. PDF 248 kilobytes. Last underscore will underscore Daniel underscore Mercer underscore 2013. JPG 19 megabytes. At the bottom of the message was a forwarded chain I hadn't noticed before. Snippets of legal sounding back and forth with redacted names. Someone had tried to delete it, but the indentation gave it away. And that reply to field, Elaine's foundation email, glared like a warning label. I hovered over report phishing and didn't click it. Not yet. The personal detail, Mimi, kept pulling at me like a hook under the skin. I opened the PDF first. It was a notice of hearing in probate court, filed under estate of Daniel James Mercer. The form listed a case number, a courtroom, a judge. And there, under interested parties, my name appeared alongside Elaine's, except beside hers it said petitioner/proposed personal representative. Personal representative. Executor. The person who controlled the estate. My throat went dry. Daniel Mercer wasn't supposed to have an estate. Elaine said he died broke. Elaine said there was nothing. The scan of the will was worse. It looked like it had been photographed on someone's kitchen table. The date read August 14th, 2013. My father's signature slanted wrong. Too hesitant, like a person copying a name for the first time. And in the margin, someone had scribbled MY Mimi, 10%, like it was a casual note. Not my life. I almost closed everything and went back to reshelving romances. Then I clicked download, and the file properties loaded. The PDF's author line said it was created by Elaine Mercer. I opened the full headers like I was suddenly an IT person. The email had passed basic authentication, SPF, DKM, enough to look legitimate. But the sending server wasn't a law firm's. It routed through a small hosting provider in Nevada and the Riverside Legal. Org domain had only been registered 8 months ago. Who makes a fake legal domain for an estate hearing? I did the most cautious thing I could think of. I didn't hit reply. I started a new message and typed the address manually. Hi Caleb. I received your email. Can you confirm what this is regarding? I don't know why I'm listed. Please call me at this number. I almost deleted my phone number before sending it. Then I realized if this was a scam, Elaine being in the reply to made no sense. Scammers didn't usually include your aunt's nonprofit email. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a new email. Not from Caleb. From Elaine. Mercer at Clearview Foundation. Net. Subject, don't get confused, Maya. Sent. 8:41 a.m. The message was short, like she'd typed it between sips of coffee. Whatever you got this morning, forward it to me. These filings are routine. Do not contact anyone. I'll handle it. Love you. Love you. Like a period at the end of a sentence. I didn't forward anything. I exported the original email as an ML file and saved it to a flash drive I kept for backup resumes. Then I opened the will scan and zoomed in. The witness names were typed, Ruth A. Mercer and Thomas Klein. Grandma Ruth. My grandmother. But Grandma Ruth's handwriting, the few birthday cards I still had, slanted left and looped like ribbon. The witness signature on the will slanted right, stiff and slow, like someone signing with their non-dominant hand. And the date, August 14th, 2013, hit another nerve. That was the summer Elaine insisted Ruth was too sick to travel and kept her away from everyone. I remembered because I'd begged to visit and Elaine told me, calmly, that Ruth didn't want the stress. At 9:03 a.m., my phone rang from an unknown number. Is this Maya Mercer? A man asked, voice low and careful. Yes, I said, trying to sound older than I felt. This is Caleb Haynes, he said. You're not supposed to be seeing this yet. I took my lunch break early and drove to Grandma Ruth's. Her neighborhood was all winter lawns and porch flags, the kind of place where people still waved at the mail truck. Ruth opened the door before I knocked, like she'd been waiting. Mimi, she said, and my chest tightened. You look pale. Do you remember signing anything in 2013? I asked too fast. A will? Something for Dad? Ruth blinked hard, then shook her head. Daniel. She pressed her fingertips to her temple. Elaine said we weren't to talk about him. It upset you. It upset her, I said. Ruth's eyes sharpened for a second, the old version of her surfacing. That woman keeps files on everyone, she whispered. She kept files on your mother, too. I showed her the witness signature, zoomed in until the ink pixels broke apart. Is that yours? Ruth stared, mouth trembling. No, I don't write like that. The front door clicked behind me. We both jumped. Elaine walked in like she owned the air, camel coat, perfect hair, that soft charity gala perfume that always made me feel like I was dirt on her shoes. Oh good, she said brightly. You're here. I was just checking on Mom. Ruth's hands clenched around the arms of her chair. Elaine, she's asking questions. Elaine's smile tightened. Maya, sweetheart, what did I tell you about upsetting her? I got an email about Dad's estate, I said. Why is there a probate hearing? Elaine tilted her head. Because paperwork exists. You're not a lawyer. You don't understand. I understand my name, I said. And I understand you emailed me telling me not to contact anyone. Ruth's voice came out thin. Why is my name on that paper? Elaine didn't look at her. She looked at me. Because I had to do what was necessary, she said, voice turning gentle in a way that felt like a threat. Daniel left you nothing, Maya. He made his choices. Do you want to relive that? Elaine stepped closer and lowered her voice. Give me the email, she said. Now. I didn't move. Elaine's smile didn't reach her eyes when she said my father's name. I didn't confront Elaine again. Not yet. I did what I always did when I felt cornered. I went quiet, got practical, and made a list. Step 1. Verify if any of this was real. After work, I drove downtown and parked by the county building where the meters ate quarters like candy. Inside, the probate clerk's office smelled like toner and old carpet. A bored man behind the glass barely glanced up. I need to look up a case, I said, sliding my phone forward with the case number from the notice. He typed, clicked, then raised an eyebrow. Estate of Daniel J. Mercer. Hearing set for the 18th. Interested parties, you? Yes, I said, and hated how small it sounded. You'll need to fill out a request if you want copies. He pushed a form through the slot. $5 a page. Of course it cost money to learn the truth. I filled it out at a standing counter with a pen attached to a chain. My handwriting shook. When I got back to the window, the clerk took the form and disappeared into the back. I watched the door like it might open into my childhood. While I waited, I pulled up the county docket on my phone. The petition had been filed 2 weeks earlier by Elaine Mercer, proposed personal representative. There was also something called an affidavit of diligent search, where Elaine claimed she tried to locate me and couldn't. I laughed. Once, loud enough that the woman next to me looked over. Elaine had my address, my workplace, my cell number, my grocery loyalty card. She'd texted me yesterday about Ruth's doctor appointment. 10 minutes later, the clerk returned with a stapled stack. On top was the petition, signed under penalty of perjury. Attached was an exhibit, a list of heirs, assets, and known family. Asset number 1. Settlement proceeds. Mercer versus City Transit Authority. Deposited to Clearview Foundation holding account. I stared at the words until they blurred. City Transit Authority. I knew that name. It was on the newspaper clipping Elaine kept in a drawer and refused to explain, the one about a bus crash the summer my dad passed. At the bottom of the exhibit was a line labeled Mother, Deceased, followed by a name I'd never seen in my life. The clerk slid me a copy, and my mother's maiden name stared back. I called Caleb from my car, still parked outside the courthouse because my legs felt borrowed. I pulled the file, I said. Elaine filed an affidavit saying she couldn't find me. Caleb exhaled like he'd been holding his breath all day. That's what I was afraid of. Why are you emailing me? I asked. Are you even real? I'm a paralegal, he said. Attorney Patel hired me to prep for the hearing. I saw your name and I recognized something. He hesitated. The nickname. Mimi. It was in a note attached to the will scan. Only one person ever used it in the old records. My mouth went dry. Who? Your grandmother, he said. Or someone pretending to be her. He warned me he couldn't give legal advice, but he could point me to facts. The reply to being Elaine's wasn't me, he said. Someone altered the message after it left our server. Assume she's watching. So what do? I asked. There's a witness on the 2013 will, Caleb said. Thomas Klein, retired notary. If that will is forged, he'll know, or he'll be in on it. I found Klein's number through a public directory and called with my heart hammering. A man answered on the third ring. Yeah. Mr. Klein? My name is Maya Mercer. Your name is on a will for my father, Daniel Mercer. Silence. Then, who gave you this number? It's public, I said. Did you witness that signature? He laughed once, sharp. No. And I told Elaine that years ago. My throat clenched. The will is dated 2013. I know what it's dated, he snapped. Then his voice dropped. Listen to me, Mimi. Don't confront Elaine alone. She doesn't lose gracefully. How do you know my nickname? I whispered. I knew your mother, he said. And I know what Elaine did after the bus crash. Meet me tomorrow. Bring every paper you have. He gave me an address, an auto shop on the edge of town, and then he added, don't leave those documents in your apartment tonight. He told me where the original will was hidden, and it wasn't as safe. The next morning, I met Thomas Klein at the auto shop he'd named. It wasn't glamorous, just a corrugated building that smelled like oil and coffee, but it was busy, which made me feel safer. Klein was smaller than I expected, gray hair under a ball cap, hands stained like he still worked with them. He didn't invite me into an office. He led me behind a counter to a folding table and dropped a battered notebook on it. This is my notary ledger, he said. I kept it because I didn't trust Elaine. He flipped to a page and tapped a line with his finger. Daniel Mercer. June 11th, 2011. Will and testament. Witnesses, Ruth Mercer, and he looked at me. Your mother. My mother's name on the probate file was different, I said. It listed someone I've never heard of. Klein's jaw tightened. Because Elaine rewrote the story. Your mother didn't leave. She left Elaine. He pulled out a manila envelope and slid a photocopy across the table. It was a will. Clean. Typed. Signed in a bold hand that matched the signature I remembered from the only birthday card I had from Dad. The terms made my vision tunnel. I leave my residuary estate in trust for my daughter, Maya Josephine Mercer, it read. 75%. Elaine's name appeared only once, as alternate trustee, if Ruth is unable. My throat burned. So why is there a 2013 will? Because the 2011 will blocked her, Klein said flatly. And 2013 is when the settlement hit. He opened his phone and showed me a scanned check stub, $612,480. Payable to Maya J. Mercer, a minor, by guardian Elaine Mercer. Under memo, it said, transit accident settlement. I saw that clipping, I whispered. Elaine said Dad died broke. He didn't die broke, Klein said. He died after lawyers made sure there was money for you. I stared at the check image. At the back, the endorsement line was visible, 2 signatures. Elaine Mercer, and, in shaky cursive, Maya J. Mercer. I'd never signed a check in 2013. I was 16. I didn't even have an account. Klein washed my face like he'd been waiting for it to happen. That's why I called you Mimi, he said quietly. I knew you'd recognize the lie. The endorsement on the check wasn't Elaine's handwriting. It was mine. I went straight from the auto shop to Attorney Patel's office because adrenaline makes you brave until it wears off. Caleb met me in the lobby, eyes tired but focused on the folder in my hands. You talked to Klein, he said. He gave me a copy of a different will, I said. And a check. Elaine forged my signature. Caleb's jaw tightened. Okay, that helps. And it also makes this urgent. Patel herself, mid-40s, hair pulled back, voice steady, shook my hand and got right to it. Ms. Mercer, she said, I'll explain this in plain English. The hearing on January 18th is to appoint a personal representative and validate the will presented. If you do nothing, the court treats it like consent. Elaine gets appointed, the 2013 will stands, and your ability to challenge it shrinks fast. Challenge it how? I asked. Fraud. Undue influence. Forgery, Patel said. But I need to be clear. The settlement check is separate. If your name was used, you're a victim, but you also need to report it correctly. Otherwise, Elaine can claim you were involved. My stomach dropped. Involved? I was 16. Exactly, Patel said, which is why we document that. We pull bank records, the settlement file, Ruth's signature samples. We request the original will. If she hides it, we subpoena. I looked at Caleb. Why did you email me instead of just telling the court? Because I can't speak for you, he said. And Elaine filed an affidavit saying you were unreachable. If the judge believes that, you never get a chance. I thought about Elaine's smile at Ruth's house. About the way she said love you like a lock clicking shut. What happens if I fight? I asked. Patel didn't sugarcoat it. Your family will split. It may trigger a criminal referral if the evidence supports it. And you will have to sit in a room with Elaine while we say, out loud, that she lied. A part of me wanted to run. Then I pictured 16-year-old me signing a check I never touched, giving away money my father died to leave me. Patel opened a folder and slid a form across the table. Objection and request for continuance, she said. If we file today, we stop the clock. My hands hovered over the paper. Patel slid a pen toward me and said, sign, or she keeps everything. Filing the objection felt like stepping into cold water. The moment it went through, my phone started acting like it had a pulse. Elaine didn't call. She texted, then emailed, then left a voicemail in that gentle tone she used when she wanted to sound reasonable to an imaginary jury. Maya, honey, I'm worried you're being manipulated, she said. Come over tonight. We'll talk. At 4:17 p.m., she showed up at my library anyway. I was shelving books when I saw her standing at the end of the aisle, smiling like she'd bought the building. There you are, she said. Can we talk? Outside, beside my dented sedan, her voice went quieter. I heard you met with a lawyer, she said. That's dramatic. I heard you told the court you couldn't find me, I said. Her smile didn't move. Procedural. Procedural is lying under oath? My voice cracked. Elaine stepped closer. You don't understand the consequences, she said. If you accuse me of fraud, you accuse yourself. That settlement check? Your name is on it. People will ask why. I was a minor. And minors sign things all the time, she replied smoothly. You signed forms for the car last month. You trusted me then. Trust me now. She pulled a folder from her bag. Withdraw your objection, she said. I'll transfer you $20,000 as a foundation grant. No court, no drama, and Ruth stays out of it. You're bribing me. I'm protecting you, she said, still calm. If this gets ugly, people will dig into your mother, into your father, into you. Do you want your coworkers reading about your family online? For a second, I almost took the folder. Rent flashed through my head. Debt. The way my life always felt one paycheck away from collapse. Then she added, casually, Grandma Ruth is confused anyway. If she says something wrong, it could hurt her. My fear hardened into anger. Don't come to my work again, I said. Elaine's eyes finally flashed. Then don't make me, she murmured. That night, my apartment door frame had fresh splinters that weren't there before. Patel didn't let me spiral. She turned my panic into tasks. Change every password, she said. Freeze your credit. Keep documents off your home Wi-Fi. And we need certified copies. Caleb printed the docket filings while Patel requested the settlement file from the old transit lawsuit. Klein agreed to sign an affidavit stating he never witnessed the 2013 will and that his notary ledger showed a different will in 2011. Ruth sat at my kitchen table and wrote her signature 10 times on blank paper while I fought the urge to cry. I'm sorry, Mimi, she kept saying. I'm sorry I let her. You didn't, I told her. She did. We went to the bank where the petition claimed the holding account existed. The manager wouldn't talk to me until Patel showed up with the right authorization. Then he handed us a letter on bank letterhead confirming a Clearview Foundation account had received settlement proceeds and later issued cashier's checks to Elaine personally. He wouldn't give amounts without a subpoena, but the fact alone made my skin crawl. Patel scheduled a mediation conference before the hearing and sent formal notice to Elaine's counsel. She also asked the court for an order compelling production of the original will. Elaine is used to managing narratives, Patel told me. We're going to manage evidence. That night, Elaine called from a blocked number. I let it ring. She called again. On the fourth call, I picked up and put my phone on speaker, Caleb's recorder app running. Maya, Elaine said, voice syrupy. We can fix this. You're tired. Let me handle it. You already handled it, I said. You handled my name onto a check. A pause, small but real. I did what I had to do, she said. Your father's mess would have swallowed you. I protected you. By forging my signature? Her voice sharpened. Don't use words you don't understand. I took a slow breath. Where is the original will, Elaine? Another pause. Then a soft laugh. Oh, Mimi, you always needed someone to explain things. I asked, are you saying the documents aren't real? Elaine exhaled, impatient now. I'm saying you're playing a dangerous game, she said. And I can end it. I hit record just as Elaine said. I can make those papers disappear. Mediation was scheduled for the Monday before the hearing, in a small courthouse room that smelled like stale coffee. Patel sat beside me with a neat stack of exhibits. Caleb waited behind us with a laptop. Ruth insisted on coming, wrapped in a wool coat and stubbornness. Elaine arrived late, as if time couldn't discipline her. Navy suit, pearls, that calm gala smile. Her attorney followed, eyes already measuring the room. "Oh, Mimi," Elaine said softly when she saw Ruth. "You shouldn't be here." Ruth lifted her chin. "So is lying," she said. Elaine's smile flickered, then reset. She faced the mediator. "This is a misunderstanding," she said. "Maya is emotional. She's been influenced." Patel slid the bank letter across the table. "This confirms settlement proceeds were deposited into a Clearview Foundation account and disbursed to Ms. Mercer personally," she said. Elaine leaned back. "The foundation helps families," she replied. "I used the funds for Maya's benefit." "For my benefit?" I said. "Name one thing you paid for that I didn't repay." Patel played the recorded call. Elaine's voice filled the room. "I can make those papers disappear." Elaine's attorney's pen stopped. Patel followed with Klein's affidavit. "Mr. Klein states he did not witness the 2013 will and that his ledger reflects a different will in 2011, she said. "We also have witness signature samples from Ruth Mercer showing inconsistencies." Elaine turned to Ruth with a soft frown. "Mom, you don't remember. You signed things wrong." Ruth's voice shook, but it held. "I remember my own name," she said. "And I remember Daniel telling me you'd steal the air out of a room." The mediator rubbed his forehead. "Ms. Mercer," he said to Elaine, "where is the original will?" Elaine's smile returned, practiced. "Of course," she said, and produced a sealed envelope from her bag. "I brought it, because I'm cooperative." Patel accepted it, checked the seal, and handed it to the mediator. He opened it carefully. Inside was a folded document. Elaine's eyes stayed on me, unwavering, as if daring me to blink. Then Patel unfolded what Elaine brought, and her face changed completely. What Elaine handed over wasn't an original anything. Patel didn't even need a magnifying glass. The ink was too flat, the staple holes too clean, like it was printed yesterday. "This is a copy," Patel said, voice still calm but colder. "And the notarization block is incomplete." Elaine's attorney leaned in, then sat back slowly. The mediator asked Elaine directly, "Where is the original document filed with the court?" Elaine's smile held for one more second, then cracked. "I brought what I have," she said sharply. "They're trying to humiliate me." Patel slid one more exhibit forward. The 2011 will copy from Klein's ledger, with the trust language and Ruth listed as trustee. Beside it, she placed the 2013 scan Elaine filed, where Ruth's witness signature didn't match and my share was reduced to 10% with that scribbled Mimi, like a joke. "This is a pattern," Patel said, "and the settlement endorsement appears forged. We are requesting immediate court orders, compel production of originals, freeze related accounts, and refer potential criminal fraud." Elaine made a sound, half laugh, half choke. "You're doing this to me," she snapped at me. "After everything I sacrificed." Ruth stood up so fast her chair scraped. "You sacrificed other people," she said. "You just called it love." The mediator ended the session early and filed an emergency note with the judge. Within 48 hours, Patel had an order compelling Elaine to produce the original will and restraining her from moving funds connected to the estate. Clearview Foundation's bank accounts were flagged. Elaine was removed as proposed personal representative pending investigation. And my family, what was left of it, split like dry wood. Cousins I barely knew flooded my phone with messages about loyalty. Even my supervisor gently suggested I take time off, the way people do when they don't know whether you're a victim or a problem. At night, the truth tasted like metal. Ruth started sleeping on my couch because she said she didn't feel safe alone. I let her. The apartment was small and warm in hours, and I kept checking the locks like they were punctuation. 2 days later, a detective left a card on my windshield with Elaine's name on it. The detective's card didn't magically fix anything, but it changed the air. Suddenly, there were rules. Conversations happened through Patel. Elaine couldn't just sweep into my life and rearrange it. Patel helped me file a police report for the forged endorsement. Caleb printed screenshots of the account history as soon as the subpoena cleared. Clearview Foundation's board placed Elaine on leave, pending review. For the first time, Elaine couldn't control the narrative. So I did something new. I stopped answering people. I blocked numbers. I set my email to forward anything from Elaine's domains to a separate folder Patel could access. I installed a camera over my door and asked my landlord to change the locks. I kept my documents in a safety deposit box under my own name, not Elaine's. Small choices, but each one felt like reclaiming a square inch of my life. Ruth moved in. She took the bedroom. I took the couch and pretended I preferred it. We watched game shows at night because silence made both of us think too much. Twice a week, I went to therapy at a clinic, and I learned a phrase I'd never had permission to use. That's not my responsibility. The money part took longer. When the court froze the accounts, it wasn't like a check appeared in my mailbox. It was hearings, affidavits, more paper than my library job had ever prepared me for. But the judge eventually ordered that any remaining settlement proceeds be held in trust pending resolution, with Ruth as temporary trustee and Patel as overseer. It wasn't a jackpot. It was something better, proof that my father had tried to leave me options. Elaine sent one final message through her attorney, asking for family reconciliation. Patel offered terms: supervised contact only, written acknowledgments, no access to Ruth, no access to my finances, and a formal apology entered into the record. Elaine declined. Of course she did. An apology would have been a loss. One Sunday, Ruth asked me to bring down a plastic storage bin from her old house. Inside were photos and hospital bracelets and a faded envelope labeled, in Ruth's handwriting, "For Maya, when she's ready." My hands trembled as I opened it. On the night we opened Dad's old box, Ruth finally told me why Mom disappeared. The envelope in Ruth's bin held three things: a hospital wristband from the summer of the bus crash, a photo of my parents laughing on a cheap motel balcony, and a stack of letters tied with twine. They were addressed to me. All of them. The earliest was postmarked September 2010. The latest was 2018. Every one had been opened, resealed, and tucked away like contraband. Ruth's hands shook as she touched the twine. She wrote. Ruth whispered. Elaine said she didn't. I sat on the floor of my living room and read my mother's words in a looped handwriting I recognized from the one postcard I'd kept as a kid. She hadn't abandoned me. Elaine had blocked her, threatened her, used the guardianship and the settlement like a cage. One letter hit hardest because it was simple. Mimi, if you ever need me, I'm still here. It listed an address 2 states away and a phone number. When I called it, a woman answered on the second ring. Her voice was older, cautious. Hello. My name is Maya Mercer, I said, and my throat tightened. People used to call me Mimi. There was a pause so long I thought the line had died. Oh my God, she said, and the sound was not pretty. Maya, I didn't get a perfect reunion. We were strangers stitched to the same wound. We moved slowly, with boundaries and therapy and the kind of honesty Elaine never allowed. But for the first time, my story belonged to me. The case didn't end with fireworks. It ended with filings. The judge ordered Elaine removed permanently from any fiduciary role. The court referred the forged endorsement for prosecution. A civil settlement returned what could be traced into a trust Ruth managed with Patel's oversight. I stayed a librarian, then took night classes in legal research, because I'd learned how power hides in paperwork. Ruth baked too much bread. My mom sent me a photo of that same motel balcony, proof we'd both survived.